$8,700 from TitleMax.com.
All makes and models welcome. Visit TitleMax.com today to find out how much you can get and get your title back with TitleMax.
I got my title back with TitleMax.
Title back with TitleMax.
Life doesn't stop after you've been involved in a car accident. You've got things to do and places to be. If your car is damaged, call Fair and Farah anytime, 7 days a week.
Our Bluffton office is now open. U64.com.
From the Alex Lueders stage at Sony Picture Studios, this is Jeopardy! Here are today's contestants. A lawyer from South Pasadena, California, Vince Carter. A tutor and bowling alley attendant from Weymouth, Massachusetts, Ashley Cable Curto. And our returning champion, an engineer from Somerville, New Jersey, Scott Riccardi, whose 2-day cash winnings total $68,000. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Ken Jennings.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert. Welcome to Jeopardy! On the heels of a correct response and a $24,000 wager in Final Jeopardy, our champion Scott Riccardi wrapped up Friday's game with an impressive total of $50,400. In fact, the second highest score we've seen all season, behind only Will Yancey in Champions Wildcard. When asked what he wanted to do with the money, Scott told us he's planning to buy a marimba, of course. Today, Ashley and Vince are here, perhaps with marimba buying dreams of their own. We don't know. Good luck, players. Let's start the week with these categories we have for you in the Jeopardy round. We'll begin with on your left, as you look at the map, that is. Then, what is that in the artwork? We have some watery responses, blended families, where you'll have to solve the anagram. Yes, and finally,
I'm James Gunn, writer, director, and co-CEO of DC Studios, with clues about the DC legacy that's been carried on since the 1930s.
Scott, start us off.
On the left for 600.
Of the Dominican Republic. This country.
What's Haiti?
What is Haiti?
Yes.
Watery responses.
Watery responses for 400.
A billabong is one of these for thirsty animals. Elsewhere, it's a two-word slang term for your local bar.
What's a watering hole?
Watering hole.
Correct.
Take on your left for 800.
On the left for
Of
800.
Suffolk County, New York. This county, whose Coliseum is now run by Las Vegas Sands. The
Nassau
Nassau
County is
Coliseum.
what we're looking
Nassau
for.
County. Back to you, Vince.
Yes, and for 800.
In French, this word signifies and more.
Yes, and
It's
for
found
800.
before ça change.
What's plus?
What is plus?
Yes.
Yes, and
Yes, and for 600.
A way to say and is in this, an operation so simple that kids learn to do
What's
it.
addition?
Scott.
What is addition?
In addition, right.
On your left, 1,000.
On the left for
Of
1,000.
Manitoba, this province, home to about 1.2 million, a bit more than half of Cincinnati's metro area.
What's Saskatchewan?
Good for 1,000.
Watery responses 600.
Watery
As a
responses for
mermaid in
600.
Splash, Daryl Hannah somewhat literally embodies this four-word trope.
What's a
involving
fish out of
near
water?
Unfamiliar environments. Scott.
What is a fish out of water?
Good.
Watery for 800.
Watery for 800. All the daily double.
Scott.
Let's bet it all.
You called into an early lead. What's the wager here?
Everything.
Okay, a true daily double on watery responses. Here's your clue, Scott. Sort of like between the devil and the deep blue sea, this phrase with two not great options means no matter what.
What's come hell or high water?
Come hell or high water.
Yes!
Phrase, so you double up to 4,400. And the bonus winner is Scott Select.
Blended families for 600.
This royal dynasty
Blended
may be
families for
Terminé
600.
in France, but it still has rulers in both Spain and Luxembourg.
What's a
On
Bourbon?
or above. Scott.
What is bourbon?
What's Bourbon?
Blended families 800.
This dysfunctional
Blended families
family
for
ruled
800.
England for 331 years, until the dysfunctional Tudors took over.
What's Plantagenet?
Ashley.
What is Plantagenet?
Yes.
Blended families 400.
Blended families
This
for
last
400.
name is number one on Forbes' list of America's richest families. Low tan.
What's Walton?
What is Walton?
Right again.
Blended families 1,000.
Blended families for
Vito
1,000.
ran this New York mob family from prison for a decade. One Veges.
Was
Scott,
Genovese.
Genovese.
Genovese is correct.
Watery response is 1,000.
Water response
Also
to
known as
1,000.
deuterium oxide, it's used in nuclear plants to moderate neutrons.
Was heavy water.
What is heavy water?
You had 1,000.
Was that in the
Let's
artwork for
try-
800?
What is that in the artwork for 800?
In the lap of Whistler's mother, a white one of these to go with her mourning clothes.
White
A white
handkerchief is
handkerchief.
what I'm
I
looking
guess she's been
for.
crying. Back to you, Vince.
Artwork for
Let's keep
600.
trying it. Artwork at 600.
In Liberty Leading the People by Eugène Delacroix, a musket in Lady Liberty's left hand, in her right hand, this.
Was the French
What is
flag.
a flag? What is the French flag?
It is the French flag, yes.
See,
You still have
those
the lead at the
question
moment, but
point.
everybody's playing well. A quick. Carter comes to us all the way from South Pasadena, California. He's a lawyer with what I consider to be the perfect Jeopardy anecdote. Vince, you say you once went bowling with...
An archduke.
Bowling with an archduke. How did you come to meet an archduke who likes to bowl?
He was a classmate when I did my year abroad in Madrid, and one day we were chatting over a beer afterwards, and the question of his last name came up, and he said, "Oh, it's Habsburg."
Wow.
And I was like, and he goes, "Yeah, his grandfather was the last emperor of Austria."
The
So,
Habsburgs.
yeah, I'm sort of interested. I was, as a history student, that he was a Habsburg. He was just as interested that my uncle had worked on Knight Rider.
And speaking of which, we have Ashley Cable-Curto with us from Weymouth, Massachusetts. You're a tutor, but you're also a bowling alley attendant, right? What's that like? Tell us about your alley.
It's a little small place in Massachusetts, and we had gone just to check it out one day, and I walked in and was like, oh, I'm home. So eventually,
Loved it.
joined a couple of leagues, took a job on Saturdays to, pay for my wedding, and then now I'm an academic in the morning and I live there in the evening.
But are there any archdukes there?
Sadly, no.
Sadly, no, at the moment.
At the moment.
As yet. Our champion is Scott Riccardi, an engineer from Somerville, New Jersey, who had a Jeopardy-themed birthday party. When was it, Scott?
Yeah, so just last year for my 25th birthday, two of my friends took me out to brunch, and when I got back, the entire TV was a custom Jeopardy board, and then everyone popped up, and the friend who had planned it all was fully decked out as Alex Trebek, wig included. We competed in a bunch of games. I wasn't allowed to answer any of the questions that were about me, and then the winner was awarded a framed photo of me piping pastry cream in a very stressful situation.
What a prize. I wish we had such a prize today, but we don't have that photo of you. But you do have control of the board at the moment, Scott. Make a selection.
What is in that artwork for 1,000?
In Frida Kahlo's self-portrait, Fulong Chong and I, this pet sporting a ribbon. Vince.
What is a monkey?
It is a monkey.
Let's try the DC Universe with James Gunn for 400.
Here's James Gunn.
I went online and searched, what's the dumbest DC character of all time? And I found a character who first appeared in Detective Comics number 300 named Polka Dot Man. I loved him so much that I made him part of my Rogues Gallery in this 2021 movie.
Scott.
What is Suicide Squad?
No. Ashley or Vince? Unfortunately, this was The Suicide Squad, Scott. Two different movies. Back to you, Vince.
Let's try the same category, James Gunn for 600.
Back to James Gunn.
My brother Sean read a clue about being part of the sorry ragtag bunch called the Protectors of the Universe, who helped out the Revengers or something like that. Over here at DC, we have a different group of heroes. This one with the Green Lantern and Aquaman, who got their first series in 1960.
Scott.
We're the Justice League.
That's right.
Yes, and 1,000.
Add an S to a word meaning next to get this word that can mean and in starting a sentence. Scott.
What is besides?
Yes.
James Gunn, 800.
Here's James.
One of the coolest DC comic book characters, co-created by Len Wein and further explored by Alan Moore, is this green behemoth who came about in the Louisiana Bayou.
Vince.
What is Swamp Thing?
That's him.
Let's try on your left at 400.
Of Algeria, this nation on the Mediterranean. Ashley.
What is Morocco?
Right.
On your left, 200.
Of Kansas, this state. Vince.
What is Nebraska?
No, I'm sorry. Scott.
What is Colorado?
It is Colorado.
DC Universe 1000.
James.
I had a blast writing Creature Commandos, a series that features a Frankenstein character and launched a DC project with the same name as this 1998 movie about the director of Frankenstein.
Vince.
What is Gods and Monsters?
Well done, that's the movie.
What is in that artwork for 400?
In the right hand of Louis XIV, in the classic 1701 portrait by Rigaud, this staff, a symbol of royal authority. Scott.
What is a scepter?
Yes.
Yes, and 400.
3-syllable ands include furthermore, and this word with the more at the start. Vince.
What is Moreover?
Moreover, yeah.
Let's talk to James Gunn for 200.
One more time. Here's James Gunn.
My new film, Superman, is partly inspired by the comic book All-Star Superman. David Corenswet stars as the Man of Steel.
Lois Lane.
And Rachel Brosnahan plays this legendary reporter.
Vince.
Who is Lois Lane?
Yes. Our thanks to James Gunn. You can see his new film Superman in theaters on Friday. Back to you, Vince.
Let's try watery responses for 200.
Meaning, forget about it. It's what you might tell an old friend about that issue you two had a falling out over. Ashley.
What is Water Under the Bridge?
Yes.
Blended Families, 200.
This media clan's real-life succession drama looks a lot like on-screen succession drama. Chord, Scott.
What is Murdoch?
Yes.
With Water
Yes,
Under
and
the
200.
Bridge.
It's
Blended
Latin
Families.
for and
Oh,
no
yeah.
less.
Yes, and
You
I
can
for
use it
200.
as a single word.
Yes, and for 200.
Vince,
Was
what is it?
etc.
Correct.
That
Here's the
last
final
clue.
What is that in the artwork? Clasped by Marie Antoinette in Elisabeth Vigée-Lebrun's then edgy portrait. A pink this, Marie's signature flower. Scott.
Was a rose.
It's a pink rose. Scott has the lead at the end of the Jeopardy rap.
Ashley's gonna start first in Double Jeopardy.
Time to play Double Jeopardy. Ashley will select first from these categories. We have They Won the Battle, then 20th Century Lit, TV Tough Customers, some econ in a category called some econ, potato science, and finally OMG. Ashley, where to first?
MG quotation marks, MG for 800.
This 80s hit says, some boys kiss me, some boys hug me. I think they're okay. If they don't give me proper credit, I just walk away.
Was a material girl.
Yes.
OMG 1200.
The tailless
OMG for 1200.
30 or more babies per litter. So it's a good thing it has up to 18 pairs of these.
What are mammary glands?
Scott, what are mammary glands?
Correct.
20th century lit for 1200.
20th century
James Dickey,
literature
who
for
wrote this
1200.
novel about a canoe trip gone awry, had a cameo as a sheriff in the film adaptation.
Was Deliverance.
What is Deliverance?
Yes.
Let's try TV Tough Customers for
Let's go
1600.
with
In season 3 of
Top
the
TV
Mexico
customers for
iteration of this
1600.
show, Bad Bunny plays Kitty Paez, a member of the two.
What Narcos?
Scott.
What is Narcos?
Right.
Was
20th
Narcos.
century lit for 1600.
In 1947,
20th century
he brought
literature
us
for
Tales of the
1600.
South Pacific. Vince.
Was Missioner.
That's correct.
Let's try They Won the Battle for 1200.
It was Richard Pearson
They won the battle
versus
for 1200.
this three-named winner at the Battle of Flamborough Head in 1779.
Was Sean Paul Jones.
Ashley,
Who is John Paul Jones?
you got it.
They won the battle 1600.
The Ottomans
They
relaxed
won the
in
battle for
1916
1600.
when Allied troops evacuated this peninsula after a failed bid to seize Constantinople.
Was
What is
Gallipoli.
Gallipoli?
Yes.
Lit for 2000.
20th century literature for 2000. The daily double. Let's buy 5,000, please.
And it paid off. What do you want to wager on 20th century lit?
5,000.
Okay, you'll have 18,200 if you're correct. Here's your clue. Chapter 1 of
John
Ayn
Gates.
Rand's
I know
Atlas
this
Shrugged
one. Was
begins
John
with this
Gates.
famous four-word question.
Who is John Galt?
That's the question.
John Galt,
You
yes.
have $18,200.
TV Tough Customers 1200.
TV Tough Coast was
Tom
1200.
Hardy
I
is a
better
smart
get this
series,
one. Was
2025
Mobland.
series about
Was
violent London
Mobland.
crime families from exec producer Guy Ritchie. Scott.
What is Mobland?
Yes.
OMG 1600.
In
OMG
Romania,
for
the
1600.
Romani. In Slovenia, the Serbs. Vince.
Was Minority Group.
Right.
Let's try Tough Customers for 800.
You don't want to argue
Top
about the
TV
minibar
customers for
charges
800.
with Vera Farmiga as Norma, a protective mom on this show. She's
Bates
Norma
Motels.
on
We're
Bates
looking
Motel.
for it.
Vince,
They won the battle for 2000.
in 1273, at the Battle of Xiangyang, Kublai Khan won in part by using this French-named weapon, a type of catapult. Ashley,
What is a trebuchet?
2,000 for you.
They won the battle 800.
On October 21st, 1805, off this cape near Cadiz, the one-armed man was king. Vince,
What is Trafalgar?
right.
Let's do some econ for 1600.
For a long time, the Federal Housing Administration used this discriminatory practice on real estate maps to allocate home loans. Vince,
What is redlining?
right.
Potato science for 1600.
To make a potato battery, for one electrode, you'll need this type of nail or screw, meaning coated with zinc. Scott,
What is galvanized?
that's right.
OMG 2000.
It's one of the most iconic attractions in Juneau and the highlight of many an Alaskan cruise. That's the Mendenhall Glacier. Back to you, Scott.
Some Econ 1200.
Economist Janet Yellen made history as the first woman to hold this cabinet position.
Was Secretary of the
What is Federal
Treasury.
Reserve Chair?
No. Ashley.
What is Secretary of the Treasury?
Yes, afterwards, she was Treasury Secretary.
Some Econ 2000.
Answer. A daily double. for you,
Econ
Ashley.
2000. All the other doing double.
3 great scores, but you're in third place at the moment.
Let's do 4,000.
All right, that would move you into second place in some econ. Here's your clue.
Was
Milton Friedman hoped that this
stagflation.
portmanteau that hit the U.S. economy in the 1970s marked the end of naive Keynesianism.
What is stagflation?
Stagflation is correct.
Yes!
4,000 on your score. So what you get?
Potato science 1200.
The Max Smart scientists at this institute in Cologne finished sequencing the domestic potato
Potato
genome.
science for 1200.
Vincent.
Was Max Planck.
Yes.
Let's try potato science for 2000.
Fun for kids.
Potato science
the
with
potato can
2000.
shows the relationship between gas volume and pressure discovered by this man.
Who was
born in
Boyle?
1627. Scott.
Who is Boyle?
Boyle's Law, you're right.
TV Tough Customers 2000.
Top T customers for
This
2000.
veteran actor
I
was raised
better
from
get
the
this
voice of
one.
Mr.
Was
Brown
Clancy
to
Brown.
Salvador Maroni
Was
in
Clancy
Prison
Brown.
Arrival of the Penguin. His name is Clancy Brown.
Yes!
Back to you, Scott.
20th Century Lit 800.
Twice such a
Not
illusion for
Sandy Gillian,
800.
her first published novel was The Edible Woman in 1969.
Was Atwood.
It was Atwood.
Good.
Some Econ 800.
In
Still
2024,
econ for
this
800.
measure of the difference in value of imports to exports was $918 billion for the U.S., up 17% from the year before.
Was the trade
What is
deficit.
your GDP?
No. Vince?
What is the trade balance?
No? Scott?
What is the trade deficit?
That's the trade deficit, yes.
Potato Science 800.
Potato
See
size
the
of
French fries?
800.
Get the outside crispy while making fluff out of this, one of the three main types of carbs.
Was
along with
starch.
sugar and fiber. Scott?
What is starch?
Yes.
OMG 400.
Putt-putt
OMG
is a cousin
for
of
400.
this game.
Was
Vince?
Mr. Golf.
Golf.
Yeah.
Some team
Putt-putt
costs
is
for
for
400.
10 years in prison have not accomplished any rehabilitation for Richie Aprile in season 2 of this show. All
The
way back to
Sopranos
season
were
2
looking
of
for
The
it.
Sopranos. Vince?
They won the battle for
They won the battle
400.
400.
In 1862, this then Brigadier General got one over on his old West Point chum, Simon Bolivar Buckner, at Fort Donelson.
Was Grant.
Scott?
It was Grant.
Yeah.
20th Century Lit 400.
Was such a live for 400.
John Steinbeck was originally going to call this novella Something That Happened.
Mice and Men is
Is
what we're
the
looking
novella.
for.
2 clues left, Scott.
Some Econ 400.
So we caught 400.
A law that brings in more taxes from individuals but the same amount less from corporations is said to be revenue this.
What? Neutral
Revenue
is what we're looking
neutral.
for.
Here's the final
Our last
clue, more
clue.
potato science for you. German scientist Anton de Bary named Phytophthora infestans, a pathogen most notorious for its effect on this land.
Was
What
Ireland.
is Ireland?
That's correct.
Wild
Taking you to
Jeopardy
25,000 even, Scott. But this game is not a runaway because, Vince, I have some good news for you. Our judges will accept trade balance for your response earlier. That adds 1,600 to your score. You now have 14,000. The final Jeopardy category will be
Movie music.
song Oscar winners whose titles were the same name as the movie they were in had this man in the leading role. 30 seconds. Good luck.
Was Daniel Craig. Was Daniel Craig.
Ashley Cable Curto has $11,600 coming into final and wrote down who is Timothy
Timothy
Chalamet
Chalamet?
was going to be.
No.
I'm afraid that's not it, Ashley. You will drop down $7,400
$7,400. She
to
drops
$4,200. Vince Carter was in
$2,200.
second with $14,000. His response?
Daniel Craig?
Daniel
Yes.
Craig. The films Skyfall and No Time to Die. What did you wager, Vince?
$11,001 equals up
$11,001 gives you the
to
lead by
$25,000.
$1, so the pressure's on Scott Riccardi
He
to
gets
get this
it
right.
wrong.
Did
He
he
is
know
a
it
new
was
Jeopardy
Bond,
champion.
James Bond. He
Daniel
has
Craig also,
He
yep, won't be
wagered
enough.
$3.
And he is still the champion.